So recently, I just graduated from the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. I was working on Master of Science in Management. I learned a lot. I would say is that, well, when I looked back, is that when I came here, I thought there was nothing that I have that could have helped me succeed or help me live the American dream rather than just focusing myself into school. So school was my number one thing that I want to put forth. I realized that I have gotten a chance to be in a country where I have opportunity to go to school just like everybody else. I don't have to be born in this country for me to be able to go into a good school, for me to be able to pass all my classes, to find a job, to connect with others, or to stay positive and carry on the characteristics that is going to define me better and put me into the place that I wanted to be. So my number one thing focus was just a school thing. And then part of that, after I realized that I have everything that I need for me able to be able to succeed in school, that is when I start exploring for ways of how I knew it's just not only school, but also who do I need to be surrounded with? Who are some people that could guide me through it? Over the past of the year, I've gotten to know that there is a huge community that have come not only from Congo, but in Africa that live in Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then plus, I see myself Dallas-Fort Worth area being my home. That's where all my foster parents are. That's where all my high school friends are. That is where I went for my undergrad, and my brothers still live there. And so I want to come back and go to Texas A&M for my JD, and hopefully at one point to be able to start practicing law in Texas, and where I'm going to be working to help my community and friends. And so I see myself coming back. And
thank you so much for the congratulations. Like Blair said, I am from Tennessee. I just graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing from Belmont University, which is in Nashville, Tennessee, because my heart is full of just love and I want to help people. As cliche as that answer is, that is very much the reason I want to be a nurse. When I reflect back on my past 4 years at Belmont, it's still surreal. Like, I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be able to say I was a graduate or have gone to just experience what it's like to just be a little normal, to be slightly a kid. I definitely don't think I went the full college experience like most people do, because just like everybody on the screen, like, we had other things we were worried about and other additives that we stressed about. But I wouldn't have changed a thing, because during my 4 years at Belmont while I was in nursing school, I was able to be a role as an advocate for the state of Tennessee. I was sworn into Tennessee Commission on Children's and Youth, which is the governor's board for advocacy. I sat on the commission's board. I got to speak for organizations such as CASA, which is Court Appointed Special Advocates. And I got to do more work beyond just nursing, and I really got to help some kids in foster care. And that really is where a big part of my heart is as well. And I don't think I would have been able to do that anywhere else other than Belmont. And so just like everybody, Ben, Dee, and Blair have said, it's crazy how the timing is in life and how some things work out. And you're supposed to be in a certain place for a certain reason. And so on top of everything, I got to be a part of these amazing organizations. And at the end of my college career, not only did I actually graduate college, but I got to speak at my virtual commencement, which never did I ever think I would graduate college, but never did I ever think I would actually speak at a commencement for my college. So it's really just like mind blowing. And I'm honestly not giving myself enough credit most days because I don't think it's real. Like, I'm waiting for somebody to pinch me and be like, Hailey, you're asleep. You're still like 12 and you got the rest of your life. And so it's just this weird space of beauty I'm in right now.
I just finished my Doctorate of Pharmacy degree at University of Texas at Austin with the previous bachelor's degree in biomedical science and chemistry. Throughout school, I feel like the most important things I learned is just like building relationships. and also knowing what you want to do, going into something. So that's something that I realized, like, if you don't have a plan, it can definitely, like, affect, like, your directions as to what you need to do and then where to go. So building relationships and actually having a purpose is very important. And also through pharmacy school, just having the privilege actually, like, to start a new organization from scratch and serving as a chapter president was something that was rewarding, just like going through the program and seeing about like several students securing like internship programs through that organization has been very rewarding, and just like seeing how everything has come into circle, receiving emails and like students just telling me like the impact of the organizations in their lives. So it was very hard, like, you know, I feel like to love people because you were just like a number on your caseload, and they come in, it's like, oh, okay, like, what do you need? And that's it. But I feel like finding that, like, you first need to love yourself and know who you are and how Christ sees you. And that's like has been like a huge impact, just like moving forward and like knowing my worth and not being determined by a number or being determined by what someone else sees me, but actually how do I see myself? Because that's the way for me to know how to project myself for people to see who I am.
So yeah, I came to New York City after graduating from undergrad in Atlanta to pursue my master's in social work at Columbia University. Here I just did a lot of field education. I was able to serve with two social organizations, building advocacy skills, organizing, working with young people on the ground, specifically Black and Brown youth. At Columbia, my classes, I learned a lot about foundations of social work practice. I already had experience on anti-Black racism, but like building more knowledge and skills around that. Learning more about how to advocate for my communities and speak out about racial injustices that are currently happening. So now that I have graduated, I am going to be sitting and hopefully I have my license secured by August. I can be a licensed social worker here in New York, in the state of New York. I'm deciding to go to law school and move to another state. So that's pretty much has been it for me.
So for the last 2 years, like, I have been pursuing like my master's in social work as well. It has been a challenging experience. I never thought, like, looking back 10 years ago, like, I never thought like I would even have the opportunity or even would be where I'm at today. But I'm so thankful for a lot of, you know, people that have supported me, and definitely thankful for ISF for, you know, being, you know, here with me along my journey, you know, through my whole college experience. And, you know, it's been very amazing. And so I just graduated May the 8th with my master's in social work. But I'm just excited that, you know, I still get to pursue the things that I love to do, which is advocating for the foster care system here in Louisiana. Also currently, for the last couple of years, like, I have been president of our state's advocate board, where we advocate for children's rights that are in the foster care system. And we have did a lot of amazing work so far. And one amazing thing we did was pushing the foster care age from 18 to 21 here in Louisiana. So I'm very excited that I got to be a part of that. And like, we're doing a lot of big things. We just did like an amazing thing by creating a foster care bill of rights here in Louisiana for like our foster youth that are coming into the system. And so I do a lot of advocate work. So I'm very busy, like, definitely doing so much. And I'm just super excited, you know, about what the future holds.
For me, college was not something that not that I thought I couldn't do it, not that I thought I wasn't smart, just I didn't know anyone who had ever went to college. And I remember, you know, hearing about Ohio State and how good their marching band was, and just like how good of a school they were. And I remember like people telling me that I could never get in because it was so hard. And I remember being 8 at the time. I survived a suicide attempt at 16. When it came down to it, for me, school was always my saving grace. I don't know why I like ran so hard to get into school, because genuinely did not see anything else more for my life. And the chances of me getting into Ohio State, I look back to it and I honestly don't know how. Really no stability offered or aided, no aid. Bored of the state since I was 7, so never got adopted. And so I never really thought that I would get into Ohio State. I didn't think that they would accept me, given that there was, really no consistency within schools or homes, but they took me in. My first year was really hard. I had a hard time settling in, getting used to campus, I guess. I had my own issues of racial discrimination with teachers, professors, and things. And it was also the same year that OSU to Mizzou happened, and I found myself getting involved in student activism, and it kind of already had a spark hit in me. Second year started to look up. I got into a program that only 25 sophomores out of the 10,000 are on Ohio State's campus can get in. I didn't know at the time that only 25 got in. And so it gave me a morale booster. I picked a major, chose public affairs, but yet my mental health was really still grainy because student activism was really something that I was really, really pushing. Didn't really pay attention to my grades as much, didn't really care about my grades as much because I couldn't stop thinking about things that my family were enduring, myself, that I was enduring. There was a murder of a 14-year-old kid by our police department that wasn't really getting that much attention. And then, and so it was really hard. My first experience with police brutality at the young age of 6, I had a gun pointed at me and my brother because they thought we were a dope house. 12 years old, slammed and arrested by a cop because my foster mom called because I had a disagreement with my sister. And when he asked me to sit down, he didn't realize that I had scoliosis. And when I tried to explain that to him, it wasn't enough. It wasn't until I got to the ground and he could see that my back was not straight that he never apologized, but he realized that he probably shouldn't have handled me like I was a grown man. But that's, near then done. I forgave him. And so I ran for a Senate position and I won. I passed every resolution that I worked on. It kind of just got me to thinking just about what I could do more for myself and others like myself, other foster kids who are thrown into a world who know nothing other than pain and suffering and are taught and told to take on large amounts of debt and to just figure it out and get through it. I understand bad things happen and good things happen, but it's just been something that I think could be resolved and that the foster care system itself is not designed to work on. I've been doing a lot of more reading, just trying to teach myself on things. I've noticed that a lot of issues that my parents have had with their lives is just the lack of not knowing a lot. So I've been reading a lot more on economics, taxes, race-based books for guidance, job hunting. Yeah, so that's been my college experience.
You guys are the cream of the crop. And I was just wondering if there was one thing you would say that enabled you to make it.
I will say my biggest thing coming out of foster care, and even Gladys kind of touched on this slightly earlier, we are really bad with relationships. We're bad at trusting people. We're very flight or fight, and that is a psychological thing that makes sense for what we've been through. But I realized quick I couldn't do it by myself, and that one hurt to hear and to admit to myself is I know I'll succeed, but for it to be easier, I can't do it by myself. And so the number one nugget I would say is vulnerability. Like, I had to allow myself to be vulnerable with ISF. I had to allow myself to cry to professors, even when it was nothing to do with the test, but like I just genuinely was just angry at the world one day, or I was just sick and tired of feeling like something just kept like coming over and over again in my life. Like I couldn't just get a break. Like I couldn't just breathe for 1 minute. And like allowing myself to have so much vulnerability with people in my life, like allowed me to grow in relationships, grow in mentorships, and like truly have people there to help me in every platform of ISS, to teachers, to mentors, to people who could like actually sit down and like work with me. Because, you know, this isn't about how does Hailey succeed in the world. This is like by herself. Like this is like how does Hailey and her village succeed.
I'm like the first to go to college, and like I thought that that you know your family are like the ones that are supposed to, but it was my friends, it was my old guidance counselor, it was teachers, it was professors, you know, who literally, you know, saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, that helped me get out of the bed every day. So it's being open to others and communicating when you're not well and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Well, motivation, I would say, is just like having like a really good support system. Because undergrad, like I went through so much, and I went through like a bad depression phase of like losing like loved ones, and just like that really like had me stressed out, and my grades had dropped. But just having like people that pushed me to be the best version of myself, even in the most difficult times, I think that definitely helped. And then also just being determined, and knowing that I used to wake up every day and was like, I don't want to be a statistic. I don't want to be one of the kids that they talk about in the reports about, you know, because it's a lot of stigmas that are on the foster care system and foster youth. And so I wake up every day and I fight every day to show other youth that are aging out and that are in the system that no matter what circumstances life throw at us, we can always overcome that. And so I get up every day, and not only do I fight for myself, but I fight for others to see that it is possible to overcome anything.
So there is something that in order for us to achieve something, we have to let it go. And that's probably, it's a very difficult decision for some of our youth to make, because it involves you being accountable, because it's going to put you in a situation that you're probably not going to like. You probably find yourself, this is just too difficult. You don't want to try, because it's meant to be that way. I think just for the short time that I've been in the United States, I've gotten to realize pretty much almost everybody who has gotten somewhere in life, they have to go through a lot of ups and downs. They have struggled. If they did not struggle, probably somebody struggled before they can get where they are. And I think that is something our youth are not, some of them are not willing to dedicate themselves to do. So I think it's also involved dedications and self motivations and to make sure you work hard and achieve more. And
well, you guys have modeled that for us, and I once had a mentor who said you got to give up to go up, and you guys have given up a lot to go up, and you're on your way, and we're delighted to be part of your stories.